means by Bana party, and could he have been referring to the UDP?
Of course, we know that he's referring to UDP. And before I really address that, one, I wouldn't say I'm offended, but I think it's very inconsiderate of him to have said that we postponed the inauguration of our bureau because he was going out. I mean, the people of Kiang could have gone on with it. When they deferred to me, I had lost my daughter. On the 6th of May, I lost my daughter. And this bureau opening was scheduled for the 11th of May. And the Gambians being what we are, and the United Democratic Party membership, with that great deference for me, and being in sympathy and grieving with me, decided that, we should postpone this until after the burial of your daughter, and when you, in fact, your grief would have reduced. And that's very human. But then he really, you can see the level of his maturity, and he knew that I had lost my daughter because he sent a delegation there. Oh. Yeah, of course, he sent sitting there. So for him to go out and make such a statement just exposes, the level of his maturity. And also,
is that high or low?
It's low.
Oh.
It's low. That was exposes, because he knows that, in such a situation, no sane person will really go ahead with such an event, drumming and so forth, when your daughter has not even been buried.
Yeah.
Yeah? But see, the Bana party is what made him what he is today. If he derived UDP as a Bana party, he has forgotten the days when he sits with me the last Sunday of every month in a pipeline over lunch. That Bana party is what made him what he is today. But it doesn't surprise me that, of course, people who are like the Bourbon Kings, they never learn anything, they never forget anything. If he only, reflected on his journey from deputy party treasurer to the presidency, he would never call UDP a Bana party. And of course,
the NAR reference.
But let me just, because you said that I hear that he's paying tribute to somebody, say Kubaro, who had built this the
NBR bureau.
The NBR bureau, I don't know. But you see, in 2017, there are suggestions for UDP bureaus to be built. You're going to find funding for it. I said, fine. But I want to know the source of the funding. Because I don't want to get my party involved with people who are involved in illicit activities, probably cleaning their money, or doing things to find favors with the government. And I said, well, I certainly want to know those who will be funding the construction of these bureaus. And I was never told. But nonetheless, the UDP decided that it will go on erecting bureaus. In fact, a few years ago, we started building our main bureau in Soma. It's a story building. And this is funded by the ordinary members of the United Democratic Party. No businessman has put a dime in that building. All our bureaus, no businessman has put a dime in any of those things. We know that business people invest in political parties, and they do so with the hope of reaping the benefits of their investment. They are looking for contracts, for their favors, for being accredited as ambassadors at large. were being credited as goodwill ambassadors. With that document, together with a diplomatic passport, you go about doing your own business, sometimes really getting privileges in other countries that ordinarily you wouldn't have had. And there are mainly business people who are giving this kind of accreditations. So we are happy that we are in our shop, but in our shop that is constructed with clean money. In our shop that really is, is constructed by people whose only intention or whose only reason for investing in that is to ensure that in that nurse shop, people can sit there and discuss the affairs of this country in a very constructive way and chart the way for this country, chart a better way for this country, not a luxurious building where people go and sit down and start hatching out deals. How do you destroy Peter Gomez so that you can have his position? No, that is not the luxurious buildings that we want to build. And I tell you that these buildings that have been called
ni wara ferio do na pano ni ko pano ferio ni ko Gambia fail to because of ferio Gambia da fa fail ni ferio mu ban Allahu akbar bari safa ko way ni wax ko ne na ferio wuli ndile de ka fi ferio bi de on mo ferio aka wana wala ke silo ka on ferio won awala dan am say ko 16 minutes aka wala ke ay cross ay problème anu be ferio do fa ndala kan de il be mo machine ko be men posé la ni yeb machine be se to posé ni ferio manda woto e mon fofu ala ko mo ñen jiso bondile nga ferio ku das fula wana nadi dol fa nadi ka mero ko fa nek rasulal am na yeneen ñaari ferio be fekk do indi nek rasulal e be rasulal ti de rasulal la takori no asike ferio naani
Are you ready to withdraw your statement?
I think he knew that he was making that statement, but he knows that I will never withdraw that statement. But Peter, again, President Barrow really, I think, his utter statements without really knowing what the repercussions or what the meanings are. Well, first, let me say that when he says that my network
is gone.
He doesn't even have a network. at least I have network that fails, but he doesn't have network at all. So that is why he's making such utterances. If he did, he would certainly not be making such utterances. But I'm happy that because of those utterances I made, he got angry because I couldn't comfort her. He got angry and got two ferries. So I'm going to make more of these statements so that he can get annoyed and do the right thing. Maybe if I didn't make that statement, they wouldn't. I don't even know whether it's true because I want to see it. But if it's true, then my statement must have spawned them.
You can't remember making a statement to the effect that the Gambia is a failed state because we couldn't even provide a working ferry.
No, but certainly, even I can't remember, but even if I did, I'm right. The whole month, the whole of North Bank region, completely cut off from the rest, from the capital city. People from Kanuma have either to use these small canoes, or those who are driving have to go right Trans-Gambia continent. That happening in any country, and you think that country is a serious country, and you tell me yes, you pay civil servants. You tell me all these are signs of that is a sign of a failed state. And these things just didn't happen, just like that. We saw it coming. It affects the ordinary citizens. It also affects us because the possibility of us getting a new mandate depends on how much we do for the ordinary citizens of this country. So it affects us politically. It affects even our own family members. So we really should address this and be a little bit more altruistic, a little bit more honest to ourselves.
The effort to, combat poverty, it would seem, is centered in the office of the Vice President, because recently there was a press release that $8 million was distributed to vulnerable families, and the coordination was in his office. Was this the case when you were Vice President? Because you have been Vice President before.
Yes, I've been Vice President for for a few months. Let me say that when I was Vice President, the Women Entrepreneurs Fund, I pushed for it, because that time, if we didn't have it in that budget year, we are going to lose it next year, and I had to put enormous pressure on Mamburenjai to make available
the former finance
minister, to make available the counterpart funding. And I was happy that Mambure really cooperated and made sure that the counterpart funds were available. And I thought that really the women of the Gambia deserve more. But if they can start with this, I think that was really good. So certainly, yes, we did that. And the social protection also scheme, I mean, it started when I was there. And certainly, I think that these were geared towards ameliorating the problems, and the horrible situation of the ordinary people in the country.
Before being Vice President, you were the first foreign minister in a new Barrow administration. Looking at what is happening now, at our embassies around the world, how do you feel? First you had the United States, then Cuba, now we're hearing Mauritania, we're equally hearing Saudi Arabia.
Well, I think it depends largely on the selection of the individuals. I made recommendations to the President for appointments of ambassadors, and thank God, I think the people I recommended really deserve the position. Who can compare the current ambassadors to 𝒂𝒊𝒏, an accomplished and a consummate diplomat? Ibrahim Ndur, Ibu Mania, Bunjak, he was Permanent Secretary, Foreign Affairs. Ahmad Tal, he was Permanent Secretary, Local Government. And Juara, he was ambassador at one time in the Jamil regime. So we selected people that we thought were men of quality, men who would really represent us properly in any international forum. And happy that none of the people that I selected, I in fact recommended, I'm happy that none of them have fallen into this. The gentleman in the United States, I think the deputy ambassador, honestly, Peter, I tell you, I cannot tell you whether he's tall or he's short. I cannot tell you whether he's fair in complexion or he's black. I do not know him. I just know the name source. I don't even collect the first name. I mean, he was selected on some other criteria, not certainly on ours. But for us, as foreign minister, then I think people of those level should be career diplomats. I do not believe that you just pick up politicians and put them in those positions.
Or ex-military officers.
Or ex-military officers. In fact, I do not believe that the Minister of Foreign Affairs should be a dumping ground for the unwanted people.
Is that what you think? The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has become a dumping ground?
In fact, it has become a dumping ground for really people that are not wanted. May God have mercy on him, Mr. Dauda Fadera. There was an issue with one of the staff of one particular embassy, and I wrote a very strong letter to Secretary General, which of course mean in response to certain issues. Look, when decisions are taken, decisions will be taken. You don't take a decision today and tomorrow you rescind it because of some pressures, because of some influences. I don't think that's a proper way of running government. But he said, look, Honorable Minister, you are right, but then this is not the language you should use. But of course, maybe I was being loyally that you just say how it should be said. Yes.
You said in answering the opening or second question that the National Assembly should not just accept the president going in there and telling them what he wants them to hear, or rather what he chooses to tell them. Don't they have the responsibility to summon him back to ask, the uncomfortable questions, especially on corruption, as you point out?
Well, yes, they have, but the president has the option not to attend.
He has that option.
Yes, he can't delegate the vice president. In fact, the Constitution so provides that matters that relate to the presidency and when there is need for him to answer, because the vice president should do so. And I think it happened in the last legislature. There was a demand for the president to appear and address certain issues. And I think the vice president, Dr. Isaac Toure, made the appearance, and it's proper, it's constitutional. And but then if the president wishes to do so, and I think it will be a good practice, so that you interact with the legislature. I think it will be a good practice. The only caveat I would have is that when he so appears, the members of the National Assembly should know that he is the president of the country, he is the head of state, and he should be given the utmost respect in the way he's addressed, what type of language is directed at him. That's the only caveat. Otherwise, I think it will be a good practice.
Fantastic. Well, he's been out and about, touring the country and making declarations, some of them directed at you personally, others directed at your party and possibly supporters. Let's listen to 3 clips that I played to the information minister on Tuesday, and he gave us his own interpretation of what the president meant. It would be interesting to hear your interpretation of the same audio clips.
ni kana politician no foy haani de politician fo gagné politician do diamu to jang amna politician ko fi wax ako nga politician me alon ko me ma so na do kulal me alon ko ne politician ni fi wax ni kan na do ko saboté ni kan oppose ako nyante baylale ako do kan ndi rol ke nyante wulale ngalo wol beto ba ko la ko na ma sakunda ko no ni sobita momola me ala resportation wala mul la koma be bayla le na sarada barin sa ko NPP ko le ko almanya na silan na de altello mansati de altello mansakunda de president baro ni mbe keno la le ni momi al nani al tonya loi tinya allo faale bamba ale kelo ke mbal ko mo modu
There have been several interpretations of that. What's Alhaji Ousainou Darboe's interpretation of what we just heard from the president?
Well, let me just have this preamble to read. I am embarrassed. I am disappointed that the president of my country can go about and utter such statements. I get more embarrassed because, our neighbors, Senegal,
yes.
They hear these things, they understand the language thoroughly. Oh my God, that's how you Gambians speak? This is the type of president you have? I find that extremely embarrassing. And I want to bury my head in the sand. But in the first place, what we have fought against in the Jammeh era is what is being repeated, that civil servants who do not support him, and that means civil servants who do not belong to his party. The general order grants every civil servant the right to belong to any political party of his choice. What the general order prevents is for civil servants to go and making political statements and join in demonstrations in political organizations. Otherwise, they are free to belong to any political party. Does Mr. Jammeh, does Mr. Barrow expect that my brother or my sister in the civil service will support him? Does he expect that? But in the Jammeh era, this was what was happening. What I find disappointing is that the man who has been entrusted with responsibility of ensuring that there is stability in this country, that citizens are not abiding, that no citizen will resort to self-help, will just invoke the law in support of whatever you want to do, can ask his people, stand up and fight. I think he's preparing the ground for a violent election period.
Oh.
I think that's the ground he's preparing for. After all, if I say itamumo kuntambaliti, you think that's an insult? And then stand up to fight. And I hear the honorable minister saying that no, what he's saying that that you should go to the law. That's not correct. Anyone who understands Mandinka, you really know that. Allo alekelo. Mbalkoma. You're really saying that, look, fight on, go on, fight. You have my support. I am the president of this country. He had said that the police, he owns the police. He said he owns the army, owns everything in this country. Infatuated. And that is this level that Jammeh got into. That state of infatuation. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with him. Mm-hmm. And I think it is really a horrible thing. And let me also add that even if the twisting they want to do with all their verbal gymnastics, if you say I'm behind you, and as the minister says that no, that the law would be on your side, I'm saying that the president is saying that you do whatever you want to do. If you go to the law, I am there. I will tell the magistrates and judges to do what I want them to do.
Can he do that?
But I'm saying that is what he's saying.
Yeah, but I mean, in legal terms, can he do that?
Well, he shouldn't do it.
Okay. All right. Let's listen to another one. I mean, in fact, this I think generated more controversy than the one we just heard.
Lo mbari ma Sehu Baro ñine mala bureau sama ñamata e men lo mba tentula baake mba jayla baake because ay bureau men lo ni momo furata jam e balon na kafa ko londri kenna wala londi ado ay ngani do ko ay wala ki am no fen na la jam fana abe lala ñine ko na parti o serious parti lo de la parti del manke o bara parti o tide ngado je biro do lo redna do ni ajube ga na bi di golo ambar na ko mo lele de amiro nyawo nya na ro de bela man na ba yi mo ni na bi di ko ma ngi kili de ya lu mo lo la le ko ba yella ondi 11 of ne ko ba yella wonna bari ya bayle folo bi dum nana mo de kere folo yani na kibaro le ko bari folo mate ko folo ya ni do ko mola ni da ko mola ñendi wol ka fir le folo bari ni ba mo fundira ñendi ko ka ten ko
bureaus, you'll see them being misused, and very soon you'll hear quarrels about the misuse of the places, because they will not be used for the purpose for which they are. But I think President Adama Barrow should really behave presidential. You know, that NAR thing, that the bureaus will end up being owned by the NAR. Of course, that's direct reference to Talib. I know they already started calling boy NAR. Oh yes. In fact, there's a clip. Someone in one of their officials in Central River region went there for a football tournament. This gentleman was so pissed off for the absence of the NPP officials, and they were just going, boy Narbi, boy Jelsi Rewmi, boy Narbi. So that's reference to Talib. And I think it is demeaning. You shouldn't be making references to persons' racial background in a in 21st century Gambia. I mean, he's a Gambian. Probably more Gambian than Mr. Barrow. Probably. I don't know, but probably. At least we know on his father's lineage, I mean, descendants of the Almami Jawara family, who can be more Gambian than those people. Really. So, if his father or grandfather comes from Morocco, should that really be an issue in this country at this stage?
No, it shouldn't.
And then of course, what he's trying to put in the minds of the people that look, UDP leadership is going to this Darboe. And this is one thing that the NPP is constantly drumming out in the ears of people.
Why would they want to do that? To split the party?
Because they think by doing that way, they can bring in confusion, division within the party, and they will fail. Certainly will fail. But what I just want to say is that, Mr. President, I think you should really be mindful of your utterances, that when you go out, know that you are not your Adama Barrow, the real estate agent yesterday, the rent collector of yesterday. You are Adama Barrow, President of the Republic of the Gambia. And whatever you say, whether jokes or whatever, should be inspiring. Young people. So really, when you say that, young people say, oh yes, look, I really want to be like Adama Barrow. Can you see what he's saying? But you don't make a statement and then, some primary reporter said, hey, Mr. President, we don't expect this of you.
It's good to hear you defend Talib in this conversation, but should the UDP not have issued a statement condemning the remark, rather than leave it to Talib now to take on the president? Indeed, as the Minister of Information said, I mean, I never thought I would agree with him on anything. Talib and Adama Barrow are not in the same league. Talib is not the leader of a party. Talib is not the president of a country. You're the leader of the party. You could have got the party, the UDP, to respond to the president as head of the NPP.
Let me state that, we found the statement so puerile.
Childish.
So I didn't think that I should respond to it. We leave it people of the same, not even, Talib should even have responded to that. I would have left some other person lower than Talib in the rank for a party to respond to that. Yeah, because if you as president, you reach yourself to that level, we get somebody much lower than Talib.
Haji Suwane would have loved to respond.
Yeah, Haji Suwane, but Haji Suwane would have loved to respond to it. But I wouldn't even ask Haji Suwane to respond to it. I would have asked somebody like Karamanjai just to do that. Because if you reduce yourself to that level, we bring people, of that level to you.
Okay, let's hear the final clip and.